Billy Lord apparently had a baby. And then
Mandy Moore, I have a baby.
You guys, wait, did I tell you that I psychically knew Mandy was pregnant?
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Hi, everybody. Hi, it's me. I'm Busy Phillips, and this is Busy Phillips is doing her best. Am I doing my best? We're about to find out.
I think so.
I'm joined by Shantira Jackson, Caissie St. Ange.
Hello.
We had some technical issues, but honestly, it only took about 17 minutes.
I mean, if you have not had a hard time with what is this, a SD card? Are you even living? Like,
I don't know. I just feel like in the last bit of time, as we've all done, zooming everything, therapy, work meetings, pitches, meeting potential suitors. I would imagine people are doing that.
yeah.
There have been some mishaps, I'm sure. Well, I'm here. I want to start with what I'm not doing my best at this week. Just real fast. Just get out of the way. Turns out I'm not a company bitch. I forgot that when you agree to work for a corporation, you're not allowed to just post on your Instagram stuff without asking them first. And so I had written that I wanted to talk about my new job, and I really do, and want to tell the whole story and everything. And then as soon as I posted on my Instagram, like, tune into this week's podcast, and I'm going to tell you all about my new job, and it's so exciting. And I got like 4 texts as soon as it went up from different people involved saying, so you actually can't do that because the studio wants to make the thing. And I was like, ugh, it's so antiquated. What's wrong with everybody?
Everybody wants to be Lorne Michaels.
I know, but it's like, but also it's like, this is just such a different time. And I feel like people, it's again, Caissie and I talked so much about it in regards to Busy Tonight. Like, what ends up happening at really large places of employment is people justifying their jobs, right? Caissie, am I being mean? Is this too mean?
No.
I don't think so.
I'm not Caissie,
okay.
But I also think that is not even just big companies. There's small, everywhere has a person where you're just your only job is to bother me.
Right. Because it also feels like if you're thinking critically about entertainment and media, and there's so many, I mean, the joke from Kimmy Schmidt. Did you guys watch Kimmy Schmidt, by the way, or just not?
I didn't watch all of it. I didn't finish it.
There's a really funny joke in one of the last couple seasons, I can't remember which one, about they make up a streaming service that Titus is on a show on this made up streaming service, because they're no one will ever know. There's so many. And that actually has become very true. What are all these services? What are these places where people can watch things? And so I do feel a little bit like the old way of kind of doing things in terms of we have a plan of how we're going to announce a thing through deadline. Who cares? Just let the people, if they have, they want to exploit my platform when the show comes out, I'm sure. That's my problem with it. It's I built this thing by myself. I didn't have a fucking, my internet presence, my Instagram, and all of this. I didn't have a consultant. I didn't have a team of people helping me to decide when I should talk to people about certain things or hold back or whatever. And then they all respond to that, and they businesses and corporations and studios and networks and whatever. And they want to use it to their advantage, i.e. connecting with you guys, listeners, fans, friends. However, they then all of a sudden don't trust me enough to know what the right way to do it would be, and how it would get the most people sort of excited and on board and want to be a part of it. I don't know. Seems a little bit there's a missed thing there, we're taking a leap. Am I wrong?
A company is like everything. It's just the world at large. The only thing is that like people have differing opinions and then they get codified into like policy for the company. But you and I have even had things where you're like, I don't think you should like, you know, when we're working on something, you're like, I don't think you should announce that because it'll distract like from this other thing or whatever. And then like between you and I, we're like, okay, you know, then I won't or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like that on a corporate level where you're not able to have a conversation with that person to be like, well,
I genuinely believe that everything that pisses us off is because one person fucked up the whole bag for everybody. It's like, that's what it is. It's like, have you ever like been in a meeting and then like somebody be like, and yeah, on Tuesdays, don't flush tacos down the toilet. And you'll be like, wait, what? That's
did that. You're right.
And you're like, that's a rule because somebody fucked up bad. And they were like, now there's all these rules. You'd be like, well, that's common sense. I wouldn't flush all my tacos down the toilet on Tuesday. And they'd be like, yeah, you think that, huh? But that's why we have a rule.
Well, that's
now.
interesting. That's actually like a really good point. And you know, I was on Dawson's Creek at the WB. It's now
love
the CW.
WB. I love WB.
I was on Dawson's Creek after post Carrie Russell cutting all her hair off.
Yeah.
right.
And if you guys don't know what this is, basically the show Felicity starred Carrie Russell, who's genius. You know her from The Americans probably if you don't know her from Felicity, although if you don't know her from Felicity, why are we even friends? And
why are we even friends is also a good shirt.
Ooh, why are we even friends? Okay. And she had this like incredible hair, like the hair that you dream of. Actually, not dissimilar to one Miss Cricket Silverstein's hair, I will say.
Yeah, curly, beautiful.
Curly
she was a white girl who really appreciated her curls. In
she
the
loved
90s,
her curls.
It was hard pressed to find a white girl who wasn't straightening them, at least not in Tallahassee. So she had curly hair and she was on board with it.
She's the mermaid.
And the show was a big deal and it like came out hot and her hair is just gorgeous. And it's about her going to NYU, going to college, basically to follow like a guy she had a crush on from high school. And that's how she like changes the course of her whole life for that. And then before the second season, she wanted to chop her hair off. And the executive producer of the show was like, actually, that's kind of cool. Like, that's a cool idea. And she chopped her hair off. Teeny, like a pixie cut. I mean, again, guys, late 90s.
But also true to form for a freshman in college who goes to NYU.
Totally.
Like, if anything, she was meta. She got to NYU and she fucking shaved her head sophomore year.
So she chops all her hair off and then I think also there was extenuating circumstances, like they changed the time that the show was on. This is like pre-DVR, whatever. There were other shows that came out that year against it that were more competitive. We don't know. But basically the ratings went down for Felicity. And then the network decided that it had to do with the fact that she chopped her hair off. For real.
Right.
And they
I believe
blamed it on the hair. And then I was on the WB after that. And like you could not cut your hair without getting permission. It was like a contractual thing. Like none of us could change. You couldn't change the hairstyle that you had unless as a woman. I'm sure the men were able to do whatever the fuck they wanted.
I'm sure.
Tacos.
That's fairly standard. You know that your appearance, you're at least supposed to usually talk it over with your producers. But it seemed like I'm curious. I would read a deep dive article on that.
Yeah,
there is one. I think.
Oh, is there? Okay, I'll look it up.
But
I think she did talk to the producers.
I do think that there is that anytime, because when you have common sense, when you're like, I think at least moderately intelligent, when you get even like no shoes, no shirt, no service, I'd be like, why would I walk into a grocery store with no shoes and no shirt on? And then you're like, because at one point it was enough people doing that they were like, we got to make a rule and put it on the door. Like,
oh my God.
So like anytime I see a bullshit rule, I genuinely am like, but like, what happened?
Yeah. Let's get to
who hurt you? Who did?
Yeah, I was going to say, people are still trying to do no shirt, no shoes, no service. When I worked at 30 Rock, Max Weinberg from Conan O'Brien's band used to walk down the hallway with his shirt off because the NBC gym was on my floor, and I'd be like,
That's gross.
Why can he do that here but not at 7-Eleven? I don't know. So I just feel like a lot of people are just dying to have their shirts off.
I think that's really weird.
Nah.
Speaking of which, wait, now I'm skipping around. We don't have to skip around. Well, anyway, so I'm not good. Never mind. I'm not skipping around. Cut that out. Okay. So it turns out I'm not good at being a company bitch, which is why I have said that I quit acting and I don't want to do it anymore. That truly. B, why Caissie and I had been trying to work on figuring out how to do things on our own terms. And if it hadn't been for that damn global pandemic, we would have gotten away with it too. And C, I do have a job that I'm dying to tell you guys all of you, the story and what it is and what is happening. And I can't yet. So I will when I can. And look, it's possible that like tomorrow I'll get the email that's like, all right, it's out, so you can announce it now. It's like, That's going to be annoying for me. But we'll talk about it next week then. So I'm not great at that, but I had a reminder. I'll do better. I hope you guys can wait with, now I feel like it's lame. It's going to be anticlimactic, but whatever.
We can't say lame anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like ableist. I've been trying to be better. Yeah. It's enough people mad about it that I wouldn't touch it. Ableist?
Well, that's fine. We don't, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be, I like truly have no desire to be, it is a thing that is hard because so many things like blind spot, fallen on deaf ears,
tone deaf, powwow.
Mm-hmm.
These are all things that I've learned in the last year.
Mm-hmm. And spirit animal, which a lot of people comment a lot on my Instagram about my daughter Cricket. Like, she is my spirit animal. And I didn't realize that it's not okay and appropriation until several years ago when somebody like explained it to me. And once you know. So I'm telling you right now, guys. I'm telling you.
I'm trying to keep up. But like I've been like, ever since we all watched Disclosure, I've been like really, really trying to be a better trans ally. And then I just got this book called Disability Visibility. I truly like never in a million years thought of tone deaf as being like rude or blind spot being rude. And it's like, oh, but you have to be open. I am just like, I'm a Black woman from the South. Like, if I can be open to criticism and being wrong, I think everybody should. And it's like, yeah, I've been learning a lot of shit that I just did not know was like inappropriate.
But also, Shantira, I just want to say, I think that's amazing of you because also as a Black woman from Tampa or whatever, like you could also be like, I don't have to learn a fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? Like you could close yourself off and you haven't. And I appreciate that. And we all can do better. Caissie is the person that probably taught me that. Like,
it's really hard though, because like there is something new to learn all the time. And like, I also am finding that like, I didn't grow up with a lot of disabled people in my community or just in
differently
general.
Abled.
Yeah. We're not supposed to say disabled?
I believe it's differently abled.
Well, here's the thing. People
read the book.
I'll read the book because also some people who have said that they didn't like that. So like I'm just gonna try to be better.
Yeah. I think you got to give yourself credit for trying to be better. A lot of these things kind of are a matter of opinion, and sometimes you'll get differing opinions, and then you have to decide, but I think like I usually just try to say thanks for letting me know if someone lets me know, and hope that people know my heart and know that like I would never intentionally say something harmful, but also intent doesn't matter. It's the impact. And so when I say something that the impact hurts somebody, then it's on me to like try to do better. But I just hope that for the most part, people are always giving us a chance to do better.
that's what happened with that Instagram post that I thought was like truly made me laugh last week that I posted.
It made me laugh too because I don't ever play music ever. I
was in bed with Cricket because, guys, here's the other thing. We were finding a new place to move into, and she's going to have a bedroom that doesn't have scary artwork on it, but she sleeps legit on top of me every night now. Like she can't. She's too freaked out. She's freaked out. I get it. She's a baby. She's 7, but she's like in bed with me asleep. So I look at Instagram, no sound. Obvious.
Yes. Yeah.
And I thought it never registered to me that I posted this video a friend sent me that when I watched it, I was like, thought it was so amazing because
it was funny. It's funny with no sound.
It's funny with no sound. This dude was like trying to film a thirst trap of him getting out of the sea. And just like at the last second, as he's like glistening, this woman just like flies directly behind him, like photobombing him into the ocean, like carefree, having the best time. And it just looked like the juxtaposition of just like him trying to be so fucking cool and her being like, I'm living my life, was like, made me lol. And then I reposted it because it was just like, has been such a hard time. I never, by the way, also, I never do that. If you follow me on Instagram, I very rarely will post like a meme or share a video, but I did because it like made me laugh. I went to bed. I woke up the next morning early here on the East Coast, and I had a text from Shantira that was like, dude, the song playing is from the movie Free Willy. You need to take that down. Like you didn't say you need to take that down. You're like, people are saying that she's a whale, like that's fucked up or something like that. Yeah. I can read it. I don't know.
Yeah. But it was truly, I watched it with no sound and I was like, I love a photobomb. I love it. And then I went back to it and truly while I was scrolling, I accidentally tapped it. And then I was like, oh no. And then I texted you immediately. And it was like, so many people also were posting the same thing. It's just being like, I didn't listen to the sound. And it was like, fuck. It's just like, you can't enjoy yourself without being very thorough. Like, truly, that's where we're at. It's just like, I laughed. Let me open this all the way and see what's going on. Because you would never know. Because also, I
felt really stupid. I felt really dumb. I did cry, of course. But mostly then I read comments and stuff and I just felt terrible. I just felt like, that's the thing. Like it wasn't to me in viewing it with the sound off. And somebody was like, even with the sound off, it's, like fat shaming and whatever. And I was like, I disagree, but I'm also maybe not in a position to say that. But right. I mean,
I can see the point of someone saying
me
that
too.
Because the reason why people are like, oh, this is so funny is because it's like a bigger woman who's just like living her life despite like society's, rule.
I don't know.
It doesn't.
Okay, not to be crazy, but
which you're also not supposed to say.
Yeah, we're not supposed to say
motherfucker. Well, guys, but if
I always just say bonkers now.
But you know what? It's the same thing.
This is another rabbit hole. Like bonkers means
crazy,
not mentally well. So you know what I mean? It's like when they named that Shrek movie Shrek Happens, and I'm like, everybody knows you're like making a pun about shit, even though you said Shrek. But anyway,
okay, no, I'm saying I didn't. Okay, this is going to sound. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but I didn't look at her body. Like I didn't notice her body as being a part of it. And then when I did after the whole thing, I was like, kind of just looks like me. Like she just looks athletic. She looked like just like a person with a body.
Yeah. Well,
like she's not a model. Like she's not like an extra skinny, like super skinny person that's like doesn't, you know what I mean?
But she just looks like a normal person. Of what we're saying is that like everybody has a different interpretation of like how they see these things. Like I'm a larger person and like so I can only I can only say what things mean to me and how things look to me. So my perspective and how I walk through life is going to be different than, than
Mine.
anyone. And like somebody who looks exactly like me, I could have a twin that feels very differently than I feel. But I will say that, the reason why I get that is because sometimes when I wear something sexy, people make like a really super big deal out of me wearing something sexy and not like in a nice way. And so
It's
I
like,
know,
ooh, look at you.
yeah,
like
look,
that.
oh, your tits are out. Oh, and I'm just like, so I know that there are certain things that people are like, there are certain things that you have a right to do and certain things that you don't have a right to do. So wearing something where your tits are out or diving off a cliff behind a hot guy are not on the list of things that you should do looking the way that you look. So I think that that's probably the way some people interpreted it.
But that makes me sick.
Yeah, of
Obvi.
course. It's gross.
Right. And so anyway, I just like deleted it and then
did a wonderfully thorough and I believe genuine apology, which is the part that a lot of people skip when they delete stuff that got them quote unquote in trouble. I deleted it and it's like, apologize.
Well, there are two things when you're a person who like has a tendency to get like put in People magazine for your Instagram stories or whatever. One is like, is this a thing that I want to make into something bigger? You know what I mean? Or should I just like, shh, be quiet and then it'll,
You don't want
But
the
in that-
Streisand effect.
Right.
Hollywood break.
You don't
People
want the
don't know.
Streisand effect.
Streisand
Can you,
effect.
Shantira, Hollywood break?
Hollywood
what
break,
is the Streisand effect?
If you're not on Twitter, God bless you. So I can't remember the story though, but it was.
Oh, I know it.
I just know what happened to Barbara, the Streisand effect. But you tell the story because I can't remember why she was upset.
She was suing paparazzi for not publishing photos of her house in Malibu because she didn't want people to know where she lived. But in suing them for that, her address was disclosed.
Oh, that's what it is.
And so then it was like, it was like by making a big deal out of a thing that like most people wouldn't have been able to like figure out, then it became
a big deal,
a huge deal. Yeah. And then everybody, and not only that, it was like a big story. And then everyone was talking about it. And it was like, oh, she lives on Malibu Colony Drive or whatever it is.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I'm making that up, but maybe it is that. But you know what I mean? And so then it was like the exact thing that she was
trying to
want
avoid.
to happen. Yes.
Yeah.
It was like became this huge deal.
It's just like when that kid, if you've never listened to the podcast, a friend of my friend's ex-boyfriend pooped a trampoline. And when he pooped the trampoline, he was like, you never pooped a trampoline before? And it was like, dude, you're screaming about this? Like, we were just going to, like, let you poop the trampoline. So, like, Barbara Streisand pooped the trampoline and then let everybody, instead of just being like, I'm going to clean up the trampoline, she told everybody not to talk about it. And then in doing that, everybody knew she pooped the trampoline.
Right. But so I think that that's the thing that like a lot of people deal with online in terms of deciding, weighing whether or not to just like, oop, and like move on or if they should make a statement, or make a statement or say something or whatever.
Yeah.
But for me personally, even just at like 6 a.m. or whatever, after I read your text and I was like, oh no, oh fuck. And I went and I watched it and then I like started reading some comments. I was like so heartbroken. I was like, I can't not address this because first of all, just because it didn't occur to me doesn't mean that it didn't occur to someone else and hurt them. And even if it didn't hurt somebody else, like even just perpetrating that, like putting it into the world and having somebody have it come across it accidentally or whatever and giving them that feeling, I would just never want to do that. That's antithetical to everything that I want to do in this world.
Yeah.
And so that's basically why I was like, okay, I'm going to like, and I thought that like, TBH, I don't really know how to do the thing that people do where they like make their own Instagram of words unless it's in stories. Is it like an app?
You use your notes app?
I don't. A lot of
and
people
take
do
a
notes.
screenshot?
I'll be
really?
honest. I do not. I don't know how to do a lot of stuff except for text and whatever color pops up when I make an Instagram story. That's the color that gets published.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I kind of don't know how to do that either with the changing the colors of the Instagram.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I don't know how to do that.
but the point being, like, I also don't love when people post text like that on. I don't know, whatever. That's just a personal thing. So I just wanted to post like a cozy photo of a paw, of Gina's sweet paw, and then just say like genuinely, I feel like gross about this, but it's not about me. You know, I'm just really sorry if it felt gross or felt upsetting or hurt anyone in any way, or even just made someone feel like, oh, that's a bummer, you know? Because even that's the stuff that like chips away at you, right? It's like, it doesn't have to be like a huge thing where you're like crying on the ground if you're a person who is constantly experiencing some form of, you know, being like marginalized in some way, right? And certainly we know that people are mean to people who don't conform to like a very specific body type that is like, I don't even know, set by who, we don't know. Right now,
it's like
the Kardashians.
I thought it was great that you apologized, just because, you know, it sets a standard of like being able to apologize, which a lot of people are really terrible at, just very, very bad at apologizing. And by the way, you know, I mean, apologizing is like a learned skill, and you might suck at it one time and get better at it another time if you ever do it more than once in your life.
It's also hard if you've never been apologized to. As an adult, I have learned, you know, from moving away from home, my parents have apologized to me. I learned boundaries from my parents, truly, and I didn't know about that until I met a bunch of people who had no boundaries and it had never been apologized to. So like my dad and my mom have both sincerely been like, I'm sorry about that. I'll never do that again. I respect your feelings. And then I got into the real world and I was like, yeah, but like when my dad apologized and they were like, whoa. Your daddy did what? I was like, well, he said he was sorry. And then he kept that promise and never did that or said that again. And they were like, yeah, like that's not a thing. So I do believe that there are people who have never genuinely been apologized to when they've tried to set boundaries or when they've made their feelings known. So it is a learned skill that a lot of times you learn after you are in your growing up, your childhood home. You like learn stuff when you're like a full blown adult. And then that's where it's a decision. Because when you grown, you ain't got to learn shit.
Maybe there's like an apology consultancy business that, you know, if you want to run your apology by me, I'll be happy to tell you.
Hey, Caissie, you basically do that. I've asked you to do that for people before.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
This is true. Like she's good at it. Here's the deal though. You have to be willing to hear it.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of times people will say like, you know, and working in TV, you know, especially like live television, it happens more than ever. Any live format, people fuck up, you know, like we've fucked up between the three of us like 11 times since we hit record on this podcast today, not even knowing, you know? So it happens. But then when you're like, you know, when you're someone's right hand on a TV show, not naming any names, but because it's every name, but when you're someone's right hand and they're like, oh shoot, I fucked up and people are upset, you know, I'll be so honest about like, well, here's what you got to say. But yeah, a lot of people don't want to. Well, they just, you know, they kind of want to let themselves off the hook and say like, I didn't mean anything by it. And it's like, yeah, but it's not about you at this point. It's about everybody else.
Well, that's the thing. That's the like, I'm sorry you took it that way or whatever is not an apology.
That's a college boyfriend apology.
For sure. I mean, or, you know, like, well, I didn't mean it that way. So I'm sorry that everybody thought it, but it's like, well, so what? That's also not an apology. You have to like really understand. Now, I think I'm really on this kick this week about empathy.
Yeah.
And I really think that the problems politically in our country right now in this moment, like all come down to empathy.
Well, truly, this is like genuine studies have shown that that like that part of your brain that lights up to be empathetic is usually it lights up more in people who consider themselves to be liberal.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we get it lit? So how do we get it lit up in some other people?
How do we get it lit? As the kids say, truly, I think that there is a way for it to be taught, but exactly like Caissie said, you have to be willing to learn it. And I don't know if the people that we want to learn it are ever going to be like, yeah, teach me that stuff. While the people that I know who have like are liberal and progressive and can still learn and be better. Like I would even say, not to toot our own horn, but us, if somebody came up to me today and was like, I have a way for you to be more empathetic, I'd be like, give it to me, baby. So,
right.
You know, so,
I think a big problem in the country is like, you know, you hear the phrase American exceptionalism. And I think this is a problem, you know, where we've been taught like we're number one and we're the strongest, and to show weakness is un-American, and that it's okay to be out for yourself and you can live the American dream, and, you know, you can have the car and the house that you dream of, and you're free to have the job that you dream of. But we know that in practice, both on the left and the right, that's not necessarily true. Yeah. So I think you have a lot of frustrated Americans who are like, listen, I'm not getting all of the things that I was told that I was free to have and that I was entitled to.
Right.
So you can say like, that's a problem of the right, is that people are like, we want to take away your rights. We want to take away your freedoms, make it more difficult for you. And then on the left, we're very empathetic, but also like maybe not super honest. Like look at the COVID, you know, like look at coronavirus. Like you would think that like people on the left, half of the country, we should have this shit like half beat. I know that's not the way that pandemics work. Yeah. But how many people are like, you know, we all have to protect each other, slow the spread, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, okay, but why are you at a birthday party, bitch? That is deeply entrenched American exceptionalism. Yes, we have to slow the spread. We have to do what we can to take care of each other, all except for me, because I have some errands and I want an iced coffee, and then I'm going to my friend's birthday party. And I think that that's like a milder form of exceptionalism.
Is this about me going to Whitney Cummings' piercing party?
Well, no, it's not, because I believe that was probably like a super careful, you know, like I think that everybody probably was super careful.
Well, everybody got swabbed.
Right, exactly. So, you know, but I do think that some people like see that and they're like, oh, fuck it. Like, I'm just going to go play, you know, touch football or what, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think that everybody is kind of like pushed to their limit. And so people are just saying, well, it's like, it's okay if I just do this one thing because it's just me. And like, again, you know your own heart and you know your own situation. But then I think that other people are just like, well, why can't I have that? I'm just going to do that.
I also truly genuinely believe that like this administration has given so many people so little hope that they're like, well, I'm going to go play touch football because they're not going to help us. And I think that like it is the last thing we can control. And I think that even when people
your own free will.
Yeah, your own free will. Yeah. And at first it was like a bunch of like weird white men with AK-47s being like, we hate this. You're intruding on our rights. And then it was like a bunch of hipsters in Williamsburg being like, oh, so like we're not going to do anything? Well, then I'm going to go capoeira in the park. So I think that is what happened. I think that's genuinely what happened, is that for 6 months, everybody I know has been like, we just going to stay inside and then goodness will prevail. And then like everything else the last 4 years, goodness has not prevailed. Right. And it's like, well, I guess if evil's just going to be out in the street with guns, I could at least throw my fucking Frisbee. Which, I mean, I think is sad, because I do think that so many people are still trying. I mean, like, I be in my house. I be in the house, bored, in the house, bored. Like, I be in my house. But I know that it's hard out here, man. It's really hard also when you see like a bunch of bad people just hanging out and you're like, they're not nice.
I know. I see so many people who are like, on social media, they'll be like, I'm judging people so hard. I see them out without masks, or I see them out to dinner. And I'm like, we can't judge because we don't know. And it's weird because it's out there on social media for us to like evaluate. So what are you supposed to do? It's natural to evaluate, but I'm always telling myself like, I shouldn't judge because I don't know the whole story. I only have like a certain, like one picture of what this might be. But then like I belong to like a mom's group, and literally every day somebody is like, so do we think it's like safe for me to have like
12 people over
birthday party with like a really small one for my 2-year-old with just like 20 other 2-year-olds? And I'm like, no. I've been saying, like, I just yell no in the comments of these things like every day since March.
Also,
and I'm like, well, so much for me not judging anyone. Like, I just took all my 1,000 judges that I patted myself on the back for not judging and like just dumped them all on this one mom.
Okay. So here's the thing. One of my favorite stories in the whole world is Caisie's son, also my son Lincoln, had a birthday. His birthday was like on a Tuesday. Listen, and then like they were like, oh, like his dad has to work. We'll celebrate his birthday on a Saturday because kids don't know. If your child is under the age of 5, they ain't got no birthday till it's over. Next year, just be like, your birthday is the day after COVID's is over. Because they don't fucking know. They don't know when Christmas is.
They really don't.
They know when you tell them everything canceled. They'll be like, when's Christmas? And you can just be like, next Thursday. If you celebrated Christmas today, they'd be like, it's Christmas. Just fucking tell everybody their birthday, Christmas, Halloween, all that shit is next summer.
It's coming.
They don't
it's coming.
fucking know. It's coming.
Soon.
And they'll just be like, okay, just buy them a toy, give them some Egos, and they will believe anything. I've never wanted to be a 3-year-old more in my life. If you tell a 3-year-old their birthday is every day this week, they'll be like, okay. My little cousin used to be obsessed with Fazoli's. Obsessed.
What are Fazoli's?
Fazoli's is like it's like an Italian McDonald's. It's like
Fazoli's. Oh, okay.
Fazoli's. He was obsessed with the restaurant Fazoli's to the point where one day we were just like, I'm sorry, buddy, it burned down. And guess what? He believed it immediately. And then a month and a half later, after we were ready to go back to Fazoli's, we were like, they rebuilt it, and we took him to Fazoli's. Guess what? They don't know shit. Tell them their birthday's next year.
Oh my God. Shantira. I fucking love that. I love it.
I'm just saying, if you're really stressed out and you're really feeling bad about like not having a birthday party, not having a Halloween party, they don't fucking know.
No.
They don't know.
I mean, you're either like a child and you don't have object permanence yet, or you're a child who's old enough to have object permanence, but you're resilient, or you're a fucking adult.
Yeah.
So like either of those, any one of those three choices are like an okay reason to maybe postpone. I've had it, but I've also had it with myself. So,
but also, I do have to say, like what we did this summer with Sim and Vince and their kids, like felt great to us, which was like we potted with another family. We all lived in the same house. Our groceries were delivered. Our food was delivered or picked up. We didn't eat in any restaurants. And our kids all played with each other. And
well, you have to pod family it. That's the thing.
We communed it. We started a commune for 6 weeks.
I do think that communes are so
chic.
We talked
what?
No. Not chic.
I'm kidding.
I was going to say that I think communes, community in general, is so important, and that American culture is one of the few cultures that we do not commune. We're very individualistic, and I think that has definitely hurt us and hindered us in our ability to like really, really stop this pandemic. Because in so many other countries, grandmothers and great aunts live. You don't have to worry about sending your kid to school because your grandparents live with you. We're a very, very, very individualistic country, and I think that people being able to have a community is what has been built from this thing. Because like before, I used to be like, I don't really talk to that bitch, but I'll go to this bar for her birthday. I ain't going to no birthdays for some bitch that I kind of know now. Like you really You really solidified your community. When this is over, I'm assuming that the people that you genuinely decided that you were willing to take your mask off for are the people that you will be spending most of your time with when this is over, as opposed to stopping to go to a bar party for somebody that you kind of like. I really do think that this will instill a sense of community in this country, unlike anything we've seen for a really long time.
Everybody's changing the way that they're living and thinking about the way that they want to live because of this too, I think. All right. So before we get to our wonderful, beautiful guest today, Caissie, what were you best at this week?
I am just like, I'm over it.
I know I'm worried, but I have to be honest, I'm worried about you.
It'd be like that though, Caissie. It'd be like that. Sometimes you just be like, fuck it, man. Fuck it.
My life is so the same that I got my period again, which if you listen to the podcast, you know was 3 weeks ago. My body is so fucking bored with my life that my uterus was like, let's make it so she has to go out and buy tampons. Like, that's what's happening. That's it. And I am like so over the quarantine that I'm gonna cry. But I just feel like that's it. That's like, I have to keep doing it.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I respect that. I'd be mad. Sometimes I just be in my house. I don't even like going places. That's how you know it's bad. Because I'm like, I don't even like going places, but I sure wish I could go.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of scary. And then I'm like, and I'm having the same thing as I'm sure every mom who's like trying to throw a party for their 2-year-old, where I'm like, why am I doing this? If no one else is doing this, why am I doing this? So it's frustrating to be in a place in my life where my life feels so shut down because of this pandemic that's happening, but it doesn't seem shut down for anyone else. But I know that's just like me being in my own feelings about
But
things.
I also don't understand. Here's the thing. I mean, you are in your own feelings a little bit, which you're allowed to be, but like, I don't understand. There are no, like, it feels like, well, I'm not in LA, so I don't know what's being said
no
to
rules.
do there. That's what I'm saying.
If it
There's
feels
nothing
like it
that's
ain't no rules, there ain't no rules. I just saw this. Honestly, there's so much ain't no rules. It's pissing me off because I was in my neighborhood. There is like a bunch of restaurants, as many neighborhoods are prone to have, and they have like taken the street parking and turned it into outside eating.
Yeah,
and
that's what they've done in all of New York. That's what everything looks like.
And the same thing I just saw in New York, that they like passed an ordinance that if there's any free available space outside, that like you can commandeer it for your restaurant. But then I was like, what about all the homeless people who would commandeer free space and would like get arrested? But now you can just like put a table there.
Right.
Okay, cool. That's cool. So that made me mad. We have been told that there's no money, there's no time, there's no way for anybody to get together and fix a problem. Problems before the pandemic. Now the problem is that people need to be able to eat outside, and we got ordinances flying left and right. There was time for meetings, there was time for money, there was time for talks in order to get that going. But when we talk about like aggressive architecture for our unhoused neighbors, there's no time for a meeting, there's no money, there's no discussion. So I think for me, what I feel like when I say there are no rules, it's like, oh, there's time and there's rules for like you to fucking make your capitalism blow. But like, there's no time, there's no rules, there's no extra meetings right now.
Right,
for,
but
like,
we're also
people who
Shantira,
need to eat.
Just to be fair, we're also not talking about like Applebee's. Just because I have a lot of friends who like are chefs who've opened small businesses, small restaurants and shit. Like, and people, and a ton of friends who are like career waiters and like, or who
shouldn't have to work,
and bartenders. Right.
But
we don't have a country that like, we don't have a government set up that like wants to support us. They bailed out a cruise ship billionaire. Trump paid $750. How the fuck? I can't. With the $750, I'm so angry about the $750, and I'm even angrier that the fucking people that support him are going to be like, oh, it just means he's smarter than everybody else. And not see it for what it is, which is just a giant fucking cheat, scam, horrible, ridiculous thing. And they're like, well, we shouldn't have to pay any taxes. It's like,
well, that's why people are going outside.
Yeah,
that's why people are going outside.
Everybody cheats.
Yeah, everybody. That's why people are going outside now, because they're like, nobody's gonna do anything about that. I'm gonna go in the park.
No, but they never said there was no plan in place. Here's the thing: Italy successfully had a shutdown for 3 months, and then they were able to reopen things slowly. England did it. Germany did it. Other places, other countries did it.
New Zealand did it. Every other country.
New Zealand just shut it all the fuck down and they were fine. But like everybody else did a thing where they had like a plan. This is the plan. And then we're going to slowly reopen. And what happened here is that there was no plan.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they told us there was going to be a shutdown for a finite period of time and they would slowly reopen, and they've just bungled the whole thing. And so now people are like, you cannot expect everyone to halt everything for the next 2 years because you didn't like institute a plan, and because you lied to us about masks. They lied to us, and now this whole QAnon. Did you guys see that tweet from that woman about how the coincidence that the Masked Singer was the number one show 1 year before the pandemic hit, indoctrinating us all into wearing masks? Whatever. I'm just saying that, like, I think that a lot of people, myself included, feel as though first of all, there are no adults taking charge. There's no cohesive plan. Right. And if everybody wore masks, we know people could do this. We could continue to live a sort of version of our lives by, going into stores, going to participate in, whatever commerce. But if I don't know, whatever. But if everybody wore masks, everyone wore masks and committed to it, we could really get this under control. And I also read a thing last week that was like, now there's new studies that they think that people who wear masks all the time are actually helping to boost their immune system, because if little tiny bits get through, what? You're
no, I was
debunking
going to
that?
say, no, I read that too. I wish they would word that differently because it sounds so like fantastical. They're basically saying that like the severity of a COVID infection that you get is because of the viral load, the amount of the virus that you inhale. And that's why like we've lost so many frontline healthcare workers, because they're just like, it's
overloaded.
This huge viral load. So I wish that they had just been more explicit in explaining the science behind, why masks protect you. But I feel like they were like looking for a new headline on it, because America is such an individualistic country that we have to like. Saying that masks save your lives isn't like enough of an ad campaign for masks. You still like, you know what I mean? Like people are like, I'm fucking free to not wear a mask. And you're absolutely right, Busy. Like if we had shut down, if we had a plan, everything would have gone so much better. But a lot of it's also on us, like I'm the adult in my house. So like, here's what I'm choosing to do, even though it's making me want to die.
It's exhausting. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's exhausting being right. I would love to be wrong. I want to be so wrong. I want to be wrong as hell. I want everything I'm doing to be wrong, and for everybody outside to be right, and for me to be like, damn, I wasted 6 months. Fuck it. I was wrong.
What's so great about being wrong is if you're open to being wrong, then you get to be right immediately after. As soon as you discover that you're wrong, then you know the right thing, and then you're like, holy shit, now I'm super right.
Ooh, I'm so ready to be wrong.
Right, but this circles back. Oh my God, wait, there's a mosquito. I want to kill it.
We'll cut that out so we don't get dragged.
No, mosquitoes have no place in this ecosystem. I hate them. No, I mean, I just like, but it all circles back to like legit what we were talking about from the very top, which is that we don't all know all things. And the truth is, once you find out, you have a responsibility to do better and to genuinely accept or apologize for things that you may have done wrong in the past. Like, for instance, like Caissie, I told you, but like I am sorry that I said the thing to you about like, I don't think you should announce that thing because we're gonna do this other thing, and like you should have just done that other thing. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I don't know, that's cryptic. But
well, that's cryptic. It's about a conversation that Busy and I had, and I wasn't trying to like drag it back up or whatever. But I mean, it's also like a lesson for me. Yeah, I should have just done that thing. I maybe shouldn't have even asked in the first place. You know what I mean?
I mean, you got to take it to the group chat. At the end of the day, you take it to the group chat and you get the group chat's opinion. And at the end of the day, you do whatever you want. At the end of the day, everybody is always doing exactly what they want to do all the time. So.
Yeah. Shantira, you have anything you want to mention that you're doing your best at this week before we move on?
I'm doing my best at trying to eat the rest of the food in my fridge before I move.
Oh my God, you're really committed to this move, honey.
Here's the thing. This weekend, I was like, let me just order. I watched a barbecue show and I was like, let me order these ribs. And then I was like, I might as well order some chicken. I might as well order some pizza. Like, I just been eating that garbage. And I was like, oh, my fridge is full of real food that I'm ignoring. So for the rest of the week, I'm trying to be a good grown up and eat the food that's already in the house.
Are you like behaving like a monster? Are you just like eating like a fistful of carrots over the garbage?
I mean, like this morning, I made some eggs and bacon because I was just like, I'm not taking these eggs, am I? So like,
that's the worst item to try to move anywhere.
To just eggs. Be like, oh, it's like 8 eggs in here.
They need their own truck.
You can't just throw away 8 eggs. So I'm
that's ridiculous.
I guess. So I'm really truly in my fridge, like, all right, like I'm not trying to take 4 carrots and 6 eggs with me this weekend. So like I'm trying like my mama would always be like, we got food at home. We got food at home. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, guys, I like that for you. I like that we're all kind of just, I don't know, stumbling through this never-ending abyss.
I think we're all learning. We're all open to being better. And I think that's really important. I think anybody who's listening to this podcast genuinely is hoping to hear some stuff they never heard, learn some stuff they never learned, and to laugh. So, like, good on y'all. Eat the eggs in your fridge.
All right. Well, should we just get into our guests or should we?
Yeah, I mean, like we made a list of pop culture things to talk about, but to be honest, none of it's that interesting because, like, you know, the world is insane. And so here's a Hollywood break. When you like work on a talk show or you work on a podcast or whatever, and you're looking for topics to like, you know, just
discuss.
And like the number one topic is like it's Halsey's birthday or whatever. And right. You like, know, like there's
like,
too much.
Not.
I mean, like happy birthday to Halsey. I love her.
Is it her birthday?
It 25th.
Was. It
Wait,
was.
you know that she was staying in this house with the artwork before me, I guess. I found out.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
See, well, no, why would you? I'm just telling you now. I don't know why I said, did
Halsey.
You know? Because I didn't tell you.
I love Halsey because she's black and people don't know she's black. So she always be like, people say shit to me and then I call them out. And I love that. I love secret black people.
I love whenever there's a day on Twitter when people realize that Halsey is black. And then it's like a whole day of people, black and white, people of all colors being like, Halsey's black.
Same thing with Slash. I love when people find out Slash is black. Slash is like, I'm Jewish and black. And I got a lot of days going on. I love that kind of shit.
Well, so yeah, it's like, it's a little bit of a pop culture slow news day. I know the presidential debate was last night, but we're recording this before watching it. I don't even think I'm going to watch it. I don't think Joe Biden should even participate in it because I think it's such a fucking sham that this other motherfucker is even treated like a legitimate candidate or anyone who has any. I should debate Joe Biden. You know what I mean? Like, just fucking put me in there. Here's what I did like. I liked this thing that you put in, Caissie. I don't know if it was for me, about all the babies. There were so many. There have been so many celebrity babies. I guess Joaquin Phoenix and Rooney Mara had a baby and named the baby River, which is so sweet after his late brother, who was gorgeous, beautiful soul actor. Love him. Billy Lord apparently had a baby. And then
Mandy Moore's gonna have a baby.
You guys, wait, did I tell you that I psychically knew Mandy was pregnant?
Oh,
No.
Oh my God. You know how sometimes I'm psychic about stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is weird. This one is weird. So Mandy and I are friends. We're on a group chat together, but we also like text each other separately about things from time to time. But I like definitely not like inner circle friends, but like we're definitely good like friends.
Yeah.
We're buds.
Yeah.
We're bros. So anyway, I was in my kitchen doing dishes in August, and this is the weirdest thing. And I was like, put a dish down, and I was like, oh, Mandy's pregnant. How weird is that? And I texted her. Wait, I want to read it to you. She won't. I hope she won't mind. I mean, maybe I'll ask her, but I don't think she will because she thinks it's really funny. So I said, okay, don't think I'm crazy, but this morning I was in my kitchen, arranging flowers. Okay, so I got the story wrong already. But this morning I was in my kitchen arranging flowers, and I was like, Mandy's pregnant. You don't have to tell me if you are. I just wanted you to know I'm weirdly psychic about these things. And if you are, I think it's all going to be great. Plus, I think maybe girl, but I'm not good at that part. And if not, maybe it's a new idea or something you're working on. But I really feel like it's a baby. I had to tell you because it was just so wild. Hope you guys are doing well. And then she wrote back, friend, you are very psychic, but it's a boy.
Wow.
They announced it's a boy, so I feel like it's okay. She's like, this is very impressive. I hope you're well. Congrats on the podcast. I've subscribed. Anyway, if Mandy Moore subscribed, you should too.
Yeah.
But isn't that crazy that I fucking knew she was pregnant?
I'm glad that she knew already. Because could you imagine just being like, Busy says I'm pregnant. I'm just gonna, oh my God. Like, I love that she already knew.
Yeah,
I have a weird
it would have
thing
been a
with
weird way to find out.
I know. I have a weird thing with it's the same thing with my trainer, Lauren, who had her third baby like 8 weeks ago, who does my lac fit. But in the fall of last year, she had like just found out she was pregnant. And I was working out next to her. And I don't know if you've ever watched these lac fit workouts that I do with Lauren, but she's like the tiniest human that's ever lived and like ripped. Like she's like muscles on top of muscles, especially in her stomach. So she didn't look, there was no physical, she was brand new pregnant. And I was just working out next to her and I was like, oh my God, she's going to have a baby. She's pregnant. And then after class, I didn't want to like, again, like that thing, I didn't want to tell her something she didn't already know, kind of. So I was like, so what do you think? Are you and John going to have more kids, maybe? And she looked at me and she was like, what? No, why would you? No. We're opening the studio. I'm not going to have any more kids. I was like, oh, yeah. I don't know. I just felt like maybe there's a vibe for another kid for you. And then like after she passed the 12-week mark,
she was like, okay, yeah, I could tell
She
you.
texted me and she was like, dude, I can't believe you called my pregnancy. I was like 3 weeks pregnant. What the fuck?
You're like those dogs who can like smell sickness, but you can smell pregnancy.
When I worked for Rosie O'Donnell the day that 9/11 happened, she came and
I'm not laughing at 9/11, but
it's so weird.
Anytime I hear something shocking, I laugh.
This is the weirder thing. I was standing with the cast of Everybody Loves Raymond when 9/11 happened. We were like waiting to do the show, but then everybody was like figuring out what was happening. My son was in the daycare, and then Rosie came and she was like, "Get your kid, and I have a car waiting downstairs. I'm going to take you to my house because I don't think you can get home to Brooklyn." And I was like, "Okay." And then in the car, she was like, "I know you're pregnant, by the way." And I was like, how do you know? Like, I haven't told anyone. But she did it Columbo style because she was like, you haven't been drinking Diet Coke for like 6 weeks.
Oh.
So she just
That's
got
cool.
it from like the clues, which is why Rosie O'Donnell maybe learned a little bit from Harriet the Spy and
That's a good movie.
Solve crimes
Iconic.
in real life.
Well, here, let's get to our guest because she's someone that I also think of as a Harriet the Spy type.
True.
Truly.
Don't you
truly.
feel like that? Like she
That's
could
definitely her vibe.
play Harriet
Especially
the
when
Spy
she
grown up?
was- when she was little, she had that for sure vibe.
Right.
For sure, she could do that. Yeah.
I've seen pictures of her as a kid. She definitely looked like Harriet the Spy. I bet you and this is just a free idea that I'm giving to the world, whoever wants to write it. If you want to write Gillian Jacobs Netflix show where she stars as a grown-up Harriet the Spy, you have to go for it. Gillian Jacobs is one of my favorite people in the world. We love her so much. She's a great friend and a good person and really a true life Harriet the Spy. Let's take a listen to what she has to say. You know what I love? I love a bath. I love taking care of my bod. I love wellness. I love taking care of my bleeding vagina. I mean, my vagina's not bleeding. It's my uterus lining that's shedding. Anyway, but I also love Athena Club. Are they going to enjoy this? I don't know if they're going to love that. But Athena Club it offers safe and sustainable self-care essentials in one spot, directly to your door, free shipping always. You never worry about running out of your essentials again. If you're a free bleeder, live your life. If you're not, Athena Club might be for you. It offers vegan and cruelty-free essentials, and it will cater to your personal routine, no matter what that may look like for you. They've got everything, high quality, affordable products. I personally am using a very cute razor from Athena Club that I like a lot. It's pink.
It's a good
and
razor.
I chose that color because it's a good razor. It is shaving my legs.
It's so cute. I got a blue one, and I also love it because because if you sit your razor down, it can rust, and they have a little magnet that keeps it up so the water doesn't go into the blade and doesn't rust your razor. They really.
And let me tell you something. I've had the other razors, guys, with the thing that sticks onto the shower door, and that always falls off. It never once has stayed. This is staying. And this magnet is a very strong magnet. Anyway, you're not going to have to worry about running out because it makes it easy. Athena Club makes it easy for you to customize your delivery times. So it's flexible. And if you're going out to dinner, not wearing a mask, and Caissie's going to get mad at you, you don't have to worry about your Athena Club. I'm kidding. Anyway, I just truly love it. I think that the products are great. I love that they offer vegan, cruelty-free essentials. And I gotta be honest. I'm a very busy human being, and it's nice to have these things that make our lives a little easier. So stop using razors that underdeliver and switch to Athena Club. You can sign up today and you'll get 20% off your first order. Just go to athenaclub.com. Use the promo BEST. That's ATHENACLUB.com with promo code BEST for 20% off. Listen, get the razor. I need a shaving foam. That's my thing. I use the Cloud shaving foam. And hook it up. So it's athenaclub.com and use promo code BEST. That's ATHENACLUB.com with promo code BEST for 20% off. Go check it out. You're going to find things that you want, need, and they're going to be delivered directly to your door, and you're going to be happy. Oh, Sakara. Guys, how'd you like your Sakara? Did you love it?
It was so good.
It's delicious.
I ordered more tea. I really like it. It's truly, genuinely one of the only teas that I don't have to put anything in. I still like it.
Wait, what? It's raspberry-ish or something, right? What is the flavor? It's so good.
I don't know what it's good, but I love tea, but I always want to be the type of person who drinks a tea with nothing in it. But that's just not who I am. And I usually have to drop some honey in there, a little lemon juice. I really like their tea. I ordered some more, and I drink it every day.
Fantastic. Well, Sakara, if you don't know, Sakara is a nutrition company. It focuses on overall wellness, starting with what you eat. They have organic, ready-to-eat meals. They're made with powerful plant-based ingredients. They're designed to boost your energy, improve digestion, get your skin very glowy. I've done it off and on for years. It's not like a cleanse. It's like just a little bit of like a healthy reset eating vibe. Sometimes I've done it when I've been too busy to like be concerned about cooking and making sure that like I'm eating healthy things. The creative chef crafted breakfasts, lunches, and dinners changes weekly. You don't get the same thing like in little it's all fresh and you never get bored, and it delivers anywhere in the United States.
I saved the turmeric carrot ginger soup. Did you have that? I saved it for the first day of fall to celebrate fall. It is so good. I can't stop thinking about it.
I had this strawberry oat breakfast, and they give you like strawberry milk to pour over like a strawberry oat, and I was like, can I get this in a box?
I mean, it is so delicious. Full disclosure, Birdie steals my breakfasts from me from Sakara. I know I need to order extras next time I do it. I need to be like, okay, and a breakfast for my daughter Birdie. Well, right now Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when they go to sakara.com/ourbest or enter code ourbest at checkout. That's Sakara, SAKARA.com/ourbest. And you get 20% off your first order, sakara.com/ourbest. Listen, guys, it's been in Vogue, the New York Times, and Goop, you know? So like if it's good enough for Gwyneth Paltrow, you better believe it's good enough for me and you.
Hi.
Oh my God.
Gillian.
Oh, it's so good to see all of you.
Hello.
So nice to see you.
I'm so happy to see you. I've actually never been happier to see you ever. I love your little shop Doan dress.
I wore it for you, Biz.
Oh my God, shoot. Should I go put on a Doan dress? Should I? Can I? I can do it real fast. I'm wearing a bathing suit.
You can do whatever you
Throw
want.
it on.
I feel
Right
like-
over.
Yeah.
I wish I could take you with me. Hold on one second.
She has to. I feel like she'll be thinking about it for the whole time if she doesn't do it right now. So I
Busy?
feel like we should just go ahead.
Yeah,
and
just let her do it.
Ride that
She
train
reminds
right
me
now.
of like when I was little and Solid Gold was like, it was Solid Gold night, and I would always put on a leotard even though I was a little chunker and push back all the furniture. That's similar. I feel
And
like
dance.
You
Yeah,
have to.
yeah.
You have to do it. For me, it was Aaliyah's "Are You That Somebody" a video.
Oh.
It used to come on Disney Channel. Like it was like Disney Channel in the summer. They would play music videos in between the shows. So it was like Aaliyah and NSYNC and Britney Spears. And I remember watching that video and being like, everybody shut up. And just like really trying to dance during those 4 minutes in between like Bug Juice and something.
I loved Bug Juice, by the way. Did you ever watch it, Gillian?
Oh God.
Just going to say my mom would never pay for the cable package.
Gillian, where are you?
I'm in my bedroom.
You are?
Yes, I'm standing in my bedroom.
You're standing?
I was given a music stand. I did this podcast where we recorded from home, and the podcasting company sent me a music stand. So now I put my laptop on the music stand because I figured I'm like doing a standing desk equivalent.
Oh.
yeah, that's genius,
nice.
actually.
Okay, so Gillian Jacobs, my friend that I met at a dinner party. How many years ago? 10? 11?
2009, maybe? When was it? Yeah, 2009.
Well, you had done the pilot of Community.
Yeah, I think it was 2009.
And it had been picked up, but you hadn't yet moved to LA. So whatever year that was, you do the math. I don't know.
2009.
Okay, Gillian did it. We were seated next to each other
Yes. Yes.
at our friend's birthday party, small, intimate dinner birthday party. And we fell in love, but then really became friends over the next 2 years, I would say.
I would agree.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize my good fortune at being seated next to you at a dinner party and what a difference it would make for my life. So yes, thank you, Phil Pavel.
Yeah.
Our friend
You
who
really...
seated me next to you. No, yeah. I had come to LA. I'd auditioned in LA, but I had never lived there. I didn't really know anyone, and it was kind of daunting, the prospect of starting over, really, in a lot of ways, moving to LA. And so you've made a huge difference in my life.
That's really sweet. We've talked to other people about like pivots in terms of moving across the country or moving to a different place. So it feels like that. I mean, you had no choice because it was a job. Like you had to go. And how long had you been in New York for?
I moved there to go to college. So I had been there for about 8 years total between college and time after college.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time to live in a city, and you had like all your friends and all of that. And so what was the thing that made it like easier for you? Was there a thing that made it easier for you?
Well, aside from meeting Busy Phillips, I'd say...
and having a job.
I was going to say that was the next thing that really was helpful. And I'm a person who likes structure and routine. So having a job that gave me a sense of purpose and a schedule and all of those things helped. And then it also did feel like I was meeting a whole new world of people because I'd been in the world of tiny independent film and off Broadway theater in New York. And so I was meeting all kinds of new people, just being more, on TV and going to parties with people on television. But then also, I think it's like, I don't know if it was like for you, all of you, but when you meet the people in LA who are like, no, go here. No, go to this restaurant, go to this place. And then you suddenly see a whole other side of LA because when I would come here before I lived here, I didn't know where to go or what to do. I used to go to the Beverly Hills Public Library just to be around people.
Gillian. Nothing's more Gillian than you used to go. One of my favorite stories about Gillian from her high school years is that the only time she ever lied and skipped school was because there was an exhibit she really wanted to see at the Met.
It was in Pittsburgh, but yes.
In Pittsburgh.
Yes, I skipped school to go to a museum.
And then still got in trouble.
You still got in trouble. Got in a lot of trouble. Yeah, my mom turned me into the school and told me I had to go and apologize to each of my teachers for disappointing them. And I was a senior in high school. And
guys, she was 17 years old and she wanted to see an exhibit that was closing at a museum. And you probably already were in Juilliard. You probably had already gotten in.
Yeah, and it's that thing where, your senior year of high school where you know where you're going. Also, Juilliard didn't ask for my transcripts, any of my grades until after they accepted me, and they never asked for my SAT score, so I had lost all motivation to do well in school.
The worst case of senioritis.
Yes, It truly was irrelevant. All I had to do was graduate high school. And so, my mom told me I had to go apologize to all of my teachers for disappointing them.
Wow.
I remember I went to one teacher and did it, and she said, you know what? You needed to cut loose a bit. Don't worry about it. So that I didn't apologize to anyone.
I love her. Is that teacher still around?
I have, you know what? I haven't talked to her really since I graduated, but she was like, this is also very me. Like at the end of the year, we did like a little thank you presentation to the teacher because she was a really great teacher. And I started crying and all the other kids in the class looked at me like, such a loser. Very me.
I bet she's so proud of you if she's out there watching.
Oh, yeah.
So you went to Juilliard for acting, and then off Broadway, and then you got cast on Community, and you moved to LA, and that was a pivot, and you met me, and then I was like, I'm going to change your life. No, I'm kidding. No, but you built a really great life in LA, and with Chris, your partner, and so I guess my question is, you've made sort of a career pivot, and I'm curious about, you're still acting. You're not like me where you're like, fuck it, I'm retired from acting. But you still do act.
Yeah.
But you have like kind of taken a whole different direction in your career in the last couple of years. And I want you to talk about it a little bit.
Yes. So I am still acting. I have a movie that's coming out on demand called I Used to Go Here that it would be great if people would watch.
So by the time this airs, I Used to Go Here has come out.
Yes. And you've watched it.
And you've watched it, but also you're going to watch it again tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, right again, just to support.
What's it about? Who's in it?
Okay, great. Yes. My movie is about a character named Kate who is publishing her first novel and thinks that she's about to embark on this huge press tour, this huge book tour, and it's going to be a raging success. And then it gets bad reviews and the publishers cancel everything. She was engaged. She's broken up with her fiance. And so she's in this moment where nothing is going right. And so the only offer she has is to go back to her alma mater and give a talk. And so she goes back and all the students and the faculty are treating her like she's this big deal. She's this huge success and she feels like a loser, but she's also really enjoying that. And so she sort of befriends all the kids who lived in the house she used to live in college and is sort of regressing, but also like finding that they're really cool and exciting and young. And she's sort of having this moment of like, do I start teaching at this college and are my true new friends all these like college students? So she's sort of having a crisis. But Jermaine Clement, who's so hilarious, plays her old professor who invites her back. Hannah Marks, who I think is amazing writer, director, in addition to being an actress, is one of the students. Forrest Goodluck, Josh Wiggins. There's so many great people in the movie.
Oh, that's stacked.
That's amazing.
That sounds great. That sounds amazing.
I did a talk at Loyola Marymount University when my book came out. It was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
An experience like this where you are a huge success. So you're not like facing, and you were on a massive book tour. So it was.
Well, it kind of wasn't a massive book tour just because we were also like prepping Busy Tonight at the same time. So I really only could go to a few places. But going back to LMU was good. But, I didn't graduate from there. I left school.
Oh, really?
And they won't put you on the Wall of Fame there.
I'm not on the Wall of Fame because
So
I didn't
rude.
graduate. Yeah.
They should just give you a degree. Like, they should just give it to you.
I actually asked. Wait, you guys, I asked the new dean of whatever, the fine arts at LMU is really cool and like awesome dude. And when I was there giving the talk, I swear to God, one of the only reasons why I wanted to do it was to ask him if he would just give me an honorary degree. Because it's hard, like, I don't know. I just would like to be able to say that I have one from LMU.
Maybe
Can they give you?
Maybe you can finish online
Yeah.
this semester.
Gillian, you graduated from Juilliard though, yeah?
Barely, yes. I was on probation. So they could have kicked me out at the end of my sophomore year, but they chose to not. So yes.
What were you on probation for?
Acting not up to their standards. My acting was not good enough.
Oh, I didn't know if you meant acting like on the stage was not up to their standards or the way you were acting at the school was.
They didn't like all of it. They thought I was too passive. And I don't know how. I mean, I grew up doing theater as a kid. And so as a kid, if you follow directions, you show up on time, you're just like, they give you a note and you take it, you get really rewarded. And so that was sort of my expectations of what being an actor was. And when I got there, they're like, no, you're supposed to have opinions
Ideas.
And make choices. And I was like, I thought I was being good. I thought I was being a good student I just wait for you to tell me what to do. And then I do it to the best of my ability. So that was, I think, what they were trying to like get me to do more of.
What's in the background there, Gillian?
So my character publishes this book. And she hates the cover. So I decided to put it in the background for the project.
Can I see it? Wait, I want to see it.
It's like,
can you hold it up?
She won't stop talking about how much she hates the cover of her book.
Oh my
Seasons
God.
past. I mean, it's terrible.
It's a terrible like summer beach read cover that you would get.
That's really funny.
It's like, because people, if they can't see it, it's two hands holding, like how every company now has like a black hand and a white hand holding each other for all their copy. It's
logo
just like
of
two
my
white
daughter's
hands.
school. Just FYI.
In front of a lighthouse.
Yeah, and it's like
with like a starfish and a shell.
It's like a real Nicholas Sparks vibe.
Yes.
Of like you're in North Carolina holding hands with a ghost.
Exactly.
With a really chick lit font.
So I have talked to friends who are authors and they said that this is very relatable to them. Is
It's super relatable. It's super relatable. So, Gillian, let's get back to your career pivot. So we're all going to watch this movie because also it sounds like the movie's kind of about a pivot too, like a woman at a crossroads and trying to figure out what her next steps are.
I'm very much looking forward to watching
I know. It sounds great.
It's like, I look forward to like 2 things and now I have 3.
And you are legit one of my favorite actors. I love watching you. I loved Ibiza.
Ibiza was so fun.
It was so fun. It was so good.
It was such a fun movie. I love anything where like ladies go to like a different country and like ball out of control. It's like always like shitty dudes going. It's like nobody wants to see you in Spain. I want to see a bunch of cool ladies.
It's always funny to me when Gillian plays a character that is drunk or on drugs because she does not partake in either of those things. So I'm always like, it's a fantastic acting. You do a really good job.
Suck it, Juilliard.
I do a lot of crowdsourcing for all of that. And I am very upfront on set of like, I've never been drunk. I've never done drugs. So tell me if it doesn't look real. So I try to I remember I had to play hungover on Community and I just was asking everyone on set what it's like to be hungover.
It's the flu.
It's the flu.
Like having the flu.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So I love you as an actor. I can't wait to see that movie. Talk to us about your career pivot and like how it all came to be. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And what it is.
So what it is. So what it is the last few years I've been directing documentaries and I've also been interviewing a lot of people for print publications. And so I guess what I started to do was when I would meet people like Cindy, who used to be the editor-in-chief of Glamour, I was going to all these like glamour events, like, busy. I'm sure you and I were at many of them. And I just started saying like, hey, can we have breakfast or can we have a meeting? And then she said, if there's ever anyone that you really want to talk to or interview, pitch us it. And so they started saying yes. So I got to interview a lot of people for Glamour. I've got to interview
the first for something.
Yes. It's been so exciting.
What was it?
I'm trying to remember now what it was, but I've interviewed an astronaut. I interviewed this woman who was like started working in computers in the 1950s. I got to interview Marlo Thomas. And
wow.
And a lot of it was just like, I started talking about Free to Be You and Me one day, which I don't know if any of you listening to that.
Yeah. Wait, I was just going to say, Free to Be You and Me was like my favorite thing ever when I was a kid. Ever.
Yes.
I know it all by heart still.
Yeah. And one of my first acting classes ever, we did a sketch from Free to Be You and Me.
Me too. The baby, the boy meets girl.
Yes.
Yeah. Me too.
Same. Okay, so I just started talking about it with a friend and I was like, it was amazing. And it was amazing. This was all her idea. She put this all together. She got all of these amazing performers and writers to do this. And so I was like, I don't think she gets enough credit for that. And so I just emailed Glamour, the editors, and said, I want to interview Marlo Thomas. And they said, okay. And then I got on the phone with her to interview and she's like, honey, why do you want to talk to me? Like it was so random to her because she also does, her father started St. Jude's Hospital. Right. And so she and her family have raised, I think I'm not overstating, billions of dollars for this hospital. And so I think she assumed I wanted to talk to her about St. Jude's. And I was like, yes, this is incredible. I'm totally admiring you for this. But I want to talk to you about Free to Be You and Me. And I think it's amazing. So I've been sort of doing that. Like Hilary Mantel is one of my favorite authors. She wrote the Wolf Hall novels. And so when I heard that the third Wolf Hall novel was coming out, I emailed Glamour and said, could I ever talk to her? And I never thought she would agree to it because she's a very fancy award-winning author. And she said yes. And so then for me, this was huge. I got an advanced copy of the third novel. I got to read it and I was guarding it like it was invaluable treasure. And
it was the finale of Game of Thrones is what you were treating it like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so then I got to speak to her on the phone. And I was so excited. I started crying, much like the teacher at the end of the year presentation to my English teacher. I started crying and I just hope the phone connection was poor enough that Hillary Mantel couldn't tell I was crying. So I guess it's like I've always been a curious person who gets really into things. And normally I just like bore people at dinner parties talking about them.
You never bored me.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
I guess my pivot has been, rather than just sort of like getting privately obsessed with it and talking about it with friends and family, I've been trying to find ways to like, be able to do it, whether it's doing a documentary or interviewing somebody and I guess sharing it more with the world.
But I feel it also, though, I feel like you're really into women in STEM. I feel like you want to get and I feel like you want to give women credit for things that historically speaking, what is that? Well, I mean, I know what that is, but like speak to that.
Well, so the first documentary I did was about this woman named Grace Hopper, who accidentally started working on computers during World War II because she was a mathematics professor who was desperate to join the Navy. They had a volunteer women's, it was called WAVES. And so it was a way that women could serve in the Navy during World War II. Because previously women had not been allowed. And so initially they told her that she was too old. She was like 33. They tried to tell her that she was underweight. Like there were all these excuses they kept trying to give her why she couldn't join the Navy. And she just kept insisting until finally they said, fine, we'll let you in. And because she was a mathematics professor, they sent her to Harvard. And there was this man who was working on a secret computer, one of the first computers. This is in the 1940s. And so they just sort of put her in a room with this computer and said, write a manual about this. And she didn't know what it was. She didn't know how it worked. And so by the end of the war, she was probably one of, the leading computer experts in the country because she had all this experience. But the Navy would not let her stay in the Navy. They sort of kicked all the women out at the end of the war. They didn't continue the WAVES program. And Harvard wouldn't have women as professors. So she couldn't stay at Harvard. And so she didn't know what to do. But it was kind of the beginning of the computing industry. And so these other two men who had also worked on a different secret computer during the war hired her. And so she became part of the earliest days of the computing industry. And what I learned from working on this documentary was that there was actually a whole group of women who worked on computers in the 1940s and 50s. And later, the numbers went really down. But early on, computer programming was considered, quote, women's work, unquote.
Like secretaries almost or something, right?
Yeah. It's a lot of coding.
Yeah, because it was a computer used to be a description of a human. It was a person who did computations. And so women were considered good at detailed work. And so they were considered good computers. And so there was kind of this natural shift from by hand computations into working on these early computers, which required a lot of, writing out computations. And so, now the numbers are bad. It actually, I think, peaked in the 1980s, and it's been on the decline since then for the number of women in STEM, in computing. And so working on this, I realized, it's not about trying to get women into this field for the first time. It's about trying to get back to where they were. And also there were these women at the University of Pennsylvania who worked on a separate secret computer during the war. And when the computer was finally made public, they had this big press day and all these reporters were there. They were taking these photos. People were writing articles. And the women were demonstrating how the computer functioned because they had programmed this computer called ENIAC. But when all the press coverage came out, none of the women were credited by name. None of them were credited as programmers. And so they were sort of immediately lost from the history of this computer. And it wasn't until this woman who I actually interviewed for my documentary saw this picture of these women and started asking questions about who they were that she was able to find. Thankfully, they were all still alive when she did her project and she interviewed all of them and sort of restored them to the history as computer programmers, which is what they were, because previously people had been like, they were essentially floor room models, like models at a car show. And so...
burn it all down.
Yeah. So that was kind of, I guess, the beginning for me. So yes, in STEM, I've tried to read a lot about the early history of women in Hollywood. There were actually, between 1911 and 1922, half of the produced scripts were written by women.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's kind of similarly in the early silent film era, before Hollywood was really an established industry, people would write scenarios for silent films and mail them in to studios, and then you would get a check in the mail. So it was considered kind of freelance work that you could do from home. So because of that, women were writing scripts and getting paid for them.
It's really interesting. It's almost like women are always used as test balloons to see, like, is this going to be like a thing? Like, our screenplay is going to be a thing?
And if it is a thing,
and then once it's successful,
we're going to erase you.
Is cooking food going to be a thing? Oh, okay, it is. All right, yeah, let's get. Yeah.
I love that. I love
bummer.
that you always like follow your curiosity. I feel like so many times women are just like told to be like, okay, well, that's a cute little hobby, or like some bullshit like that. But you're like, I'm going to give every woman who was a computer fucking credit. And I'm like, yes, because every woman I know has had something stolen from them. And you
Every woman I know still to this day.
Gillian, you're still acting, but what was like the moment? Was there an inciting incident where you went from sort of thinking about making documentaries and interviewing people to like a tipping point where you were like, oh shit, I'm doing this? Like, how did that happen?
I think it was kind of this gradual thing of honestly feeling depressed and feeling... when I heard the premise of this podcast, I was really trying to think about like what pushed me to do things, or why I started pursuing other things. And I think, I have constant kind of low grade depression. And I think that there's something about being an actor where you're waiting to be cast a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, for all the jobs that I have gotten, and I'm very lucky because I work as an actor, and I know that puts me in a small percentage of actors that I've made a living acting, you still, are waiting to be told yes. And so I think I wanted to find a way to start feeling a little bit more proactive. And probably also encouragement from Chris, my boyfriend, who I don't know if you've all met, but yeah.
Yes.
I think Chris also has really encouraged me as well to pursue whatever I'm interested in.
So you said you were depressed. Can you talk a little bit about, have you had a change in that level of depression since you've been?
I do feel excitement when I'm doing these new things, whether it's directing or interviewing someone. I feel those kind of like first day of school nerves, which are kind of exciting. And I don't know how you feel, Busy, but I don't feel like really scared like that as an actor anymore, unless if there's something specifically challenging about the scene, like I'm very bad at stunts. Like if there's like, if I have to do anything like physical in that way, I feel that kind of like jolt of
panic,
excitement and nerves. And certainly when I first started acting, everything was new to me. I didn't really understand how the process of film and TV worked at all. So I was constantly trying to like figure it out. And I always felt like I was doing the wrong thing, or I was standing in the wrong place, or I didn't know what it meant that I wasn't in my light, or, all these things. So it was like I was constantly grappling with that. And I think the beauty of being on a television show that goes for 6 seasons is that by the end of it, you feel much more comfortable, and you don't kind of feel that like those kind of excitement nerves on the day to day. I mean, I was very lucky that Community was such a good show. So we would get very excited about the episodes that we were doing. And it was like, this is really funny. I can't believe they're letting us do this. I mean, I lucked out so hard with that show that like we were.
Yeah, your first show.
Yes. I was like, we were like reinventing what the television show was every episode.
So cool.
So that was really exciting. But I think it's fun to feel like nervous in that way.
Okay, so there's a ton of rejection in acting, and you're just waiting for a yes. Have you faced rejection in your pivot to documentaries and to journalism, I guess? And does it feel the same?
It doesn't sting as hard. I think because it feels like, I don't claim to be the most experienced director, and I'm not a journalist. So I just kind of, and maybe it feels less precious to me. I just sort of put it out there. And if it's a yes, great. And if it's a no, it doesn't affect me as much.
And so I'd imagine getting notes is similar. Like you're like, oh, okay, that's a good note.
Yeah, I think you're also just so used to getting notes as an actor that I'm like, yes, this is normal. This is what happens. And I've also been lucky to work with really great people that I think have sort of like helped me along. So I've never felt like, I couldn't also ask for help.
So many actors, I think, choose or try to write things for themselves to star in. That is not what interested you. That's not the pivot you wanted to take.
No.
And why was that not a direction you wanted to go? I'm just curious.
I'm not very savvy, I don't think. I guess I'm not very good at self-promotion.
Well, you're not a fame-driven person. It's why I like you. You know what I mean? It's why we're friends.
I know the one scripted thing. I directed a short film that was scripted, and I didn't cast myself in it. I don't know. Also, I've worked with enough writer, director, stars to see firsthand just how difficult that is. And so I think I wanted to make it as easy for myself as possible when I'm on set directing, that I'm not also performing in it, because I've just seen how much juggling you have to do at all moments. It never occurred to me to write something for myself.
I mean, but I do think that I actually think that in a way, what you did intuitively is a thing that fulfills you more. Like you get acting jobs, right? And you enjoy, and you take the ones that you're interested in and the characters interest you. But you also are a person that has this innate curiosity about things.
Yeah, I think I've always had kind of an insecurity about it too, because I didn't go to an academic college and I don't have any kind of academic background. So I've really had to like push myself to do it too, because I didn't feel like I was smart enough or had the right education to do it.
Every woman actor I know goes through this, and legit not one of the men do.
Absolutely. Every woman, not even just actor, every woman I know it's not even over-prepared. It's like, you're like, before I do this job, I will know everything. And every man I've ever met is like, I don't know shit about that job, but I'm going to take it. And
I don't know shit about that job, but I know I can do it. Because why couldn't I do it? I can do everything. It's crazy. What did you do to prepare for documentary directing?
Well, I tried to read as many books as I could, because I was also faced with this thing where I'm not a STEM person. I don't know anything about computers. And not only do I not know anything about computers, I really don't know anything about computers from the 1950s. These women were working on computers the size of rooms,
right?
So I talked to historians. I read histories. I read 2 separate biographies of her, and just kept reading as much as I could. I also did there's a new doc series about Marvel Comics that's going to be on Disney Plus this year, and I directed one of the episodes of that. And
that's so cool.
That's amazing.
Once again, I knew nothing about comics, but it was the same producers as the Grace Hopper documentary. So I had to start reading comics, and so I just tried to read as many comics as I could. I read a history of Marvel Comics as a company, and just try to, like, another thing is I try, and if the person I'm interviewing has been interviewed before, I try to read and listen to as many interviews with them as possible, because you also sort of hear the questions they get asked all the time. You can tell sometimes these questions are sick of getting asked.
Yeah.
And then you can sort of see like where it is that people aren't asking them.
So Gillian, what is next? What are you working on? You're working on it. You're cutting something right now, aren't you? A documentary?
Yes, that I don't think I can say yet what it is, but I'm working on another.
That's fine.
Yes, we recorded. I do a scripted podcast called Blood Ties. So we recorded the second season from home. That's now out, so people can listen to that. I've been doing voiceover for animation jobs from home. I haven't interviewed anyone since Hilary Mantel, so I should try and think of who's the next person I'm going to get obsessed. I really wanted to interview Olivia de Havilland, but she just died. So that had been my goal, because I was fascinated not only by her as an actress, but she also she changed California labor laws. She sued, I think it was Warner Brothers, and so she changed what actor contracts were, because they used to have these clauses where if you were signed for, say, like a 5-year deal and they offered you films that you didn't want to act in, if you declined them, they kept adding time to your contract. So it wasn't by the calendar year, it was by like the number of films you did for them.
Films that you did? That's insane.
Yeah, I think I'm getting that right. It might be incorrect, but I think that's essentially what it was. And she challenged it and she sued them and she won. So I really wanted to talk to her about that. So
she's great.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I've been really thinking about you over quarantine, actually. How's your baking coming?
Oh my God. The baking has come to a grinding halt. I've learned how to make a French omelet, and that is the only thing I have done. I had some early motivation to try and bake, and it all dissipated.
Because do you mind my saying, like, on Instagram, you always share your baking successes and failures.
I'd say failures. I managed to make a apple crumble that I somehow liquefied the center, and it was like applesauce encased in dough.
How did you do that?
Great question. I also made waffles that were so disgusting, apparently, that Chris was like choking them down.
I can teach you how to make waffles easily. No, it's so easy. If my mom can make that, Barbara Phillips, I'm so sorry that I'm going to say this right now, but my mom is not a person who's, into cooking. And those waffles are so good.
Well, like, cooking is improvisational. I feel like it's doing improv, and baking is science. It is STEM.
Baking truly is.
It can really, and Shantira's a big baker, she cooks.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Shantira's been a COVID baker that that journey has really taken off. I'm cannot wait
not
to
just
taste
any
some
pathetic sourdough.
stuff.
No, so here's the thing. I don't like sourdough enough to make so many of them. People are like, I have 4 loaves of sourdough. I'm like, I like a soft, sweet, like I grew up in the South. Give me like a Golden Corral yeast roll. Like I want that dirty, two teaspoons of sugar per roll kind of bread. So like that's what I've been making. I've been making like very soft Japanese milk buns. That's what I'm doing. I don't want that hard bread.
So Gillian, you've given up on baking, but how is your sneaker habit going, and are you able to support it?
She has a good sneaker game, y'all. Good.
Yeah. So I have a bunion. And so the sneaker habit really kind of faded off once the podiatrist told me that I really need to be wearing orthotics all the time.
Oh my God.
So he informed me that I needed to wear orthotics. And so now I just primarily wear Danceco clogs around the house because they are orthotic shoes.
Those are cute.
Yeah. He wanted me to wear Merrells. That was his pitch. And
that was his pitch?
Yeah. I was like, they're so hard to look at.
That's a terrible diagnosis.
Yeah.
That's like the worst.
Yeah.
So that is also something where I, as an actress, now I just up front, I'm like, I have a bunion. I can't wear heels. Also, when you just tell costume designers and directors up front, I have a bunion, I can't wear those shoes, it's pretty hard to come back with, you must. And Busy knows how infrequently your shoes are actually on camera as an actress.
But my shoes, I'm such a person where my shoes inform my character. I have like a whole physical process for acting. Guys, don't even fucking start with me, Caissie, as you're laughing. Kate, you don't even know me as an actor. But like
I'm also laughing at Gillian's brand being like, I have a bunion, by the way. Like every actor has like some diva thing, and Gillian's is like, by the way, just FYI, I have a bunion.
I have a bunion. You have like another thing is who was going to care about this? But most mascaras run on me like they instantly.
Me too.
So I try to proactively tell them, this is the one mascara that works, Kevin Aquan. And sometimes people just don't want to believe me. And so the first day they will not have gotten it. And they're just, by the end of the day, they're like, boy, you weren't kidding. Because every 5 minutes coming in to like, get it out. So
here's what my question is for you, Gillian. I think you're a wonderful writer. Are you interested in doing like a biography of someone? Are you interested in, or like,
is there
writing?
a Hedy Lamarr biography?
Yeah, I was very obsessed with Hedy Lamarr. I feel like people have now discovered her STEM connection and her connection to the origins of Bluetooth technology.
Have you thought about doing a book like based on like sort of putting together all of these things that you've been like researching and working on?
Once again, the first instinct is I'm not qualified to do that.
I mean, that's insane. It's so fucking crazy. It would be such a good book too. You could just be like The Women That STEM Forgot, by Gillian Jacobs or whatever.
I tried to do that a few years ago, and I found it very hard to do. But yeah, I have a whole list of people.
Wait, what did you try to do a few years ago that was hard to do?
Oh, more documentaries after the Grace Hopper one. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I have...
And what was the biggest thing holding you back from that?
Getting people to pay for it.
Right. And when you would go, because documentaries are made all the time, right? Like, and when you would go to these companies and you would say, like, I want to make these female-focused, tell these these stories of women who were erased from the picture of like these achievements in STEM, what would be the response?
But can't you just have one that's about a man? Yeah, that was...
Really?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah, and I was like, well, that's the whole identity of the thing, you know. I'll try again.
That must have been a fucking bummer.
It was because I felt like when people did see the one about Grace Hopper, they got so excited because it really was, even though she's the most famous woman within the STEM world, she still isn't even white. Like, this was the crazy thing to me was there's a celebration of women computing that's named after her. It's called the Grace Hopper Celebration. And so I went to go film it, and I thought, I'll be able to tell her story by just going up and interviewing women who are at this conference, and they'll know about her, and I can sort of, have this chorus of voices. No one there really knew anything about her, and they're at a celebration named after her. And so that was shocking to me that even there within, this community, still no one really knew anything about her.
Well, we are in the middle of a revolution and a reckoning. And I bet you now is a good time for those people who said no to say yes.
To reconsider. I'm just going to throw this out there. I feel like it's really interesting in this time. I haven't been really into watching like narrative shows. I mean, I've watched a couple, like some really standout, fucking amazing things, but mostly I've been watching documentaries.
Yep.
And I just am really interested in real people's stories of whatever. Let's do it, Gillian.
All
let's
right.
do it because I think that series should be made. Like, I want to watch it. I think it's important. Like, I think it's fucking bullshit that 2 years ago you were shot down after Your Work Speaks for Itself. That documentary was so good, and like, fuck these motherfuckers. We're gonna get it done. We're gonna get it done.
Gillian, thank you so much. It was so nice to see you.
It was so great to see all of you. Thank
So
you.
glad to see you again.
Tell Chris I say hi and let's talk next week.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Oh, functionofbeauty.com. Is that a good song for them?
It's
Do you
nice
think they
that
would
you
like that?
voluntarily write jingles for.
I think it's nice. It's an added thing other podcast hosts don't do. You do know that functionofbeauty.com has over 54 trillion possible ingredient combinations for your hair. And how do they know how to put all those combinations together? Because you take a little quiz and you tell them what you're dealing with in terms of your hair. And then they make sure that your formula is as unique as you are. It's a very quick but thorough quiz. Function of Beauty's team puts together the right blend of ingredients. They bottle your custom formula order, and then they deliver your personalized formula right to your door in a cute little customized bottle with your favorite color and fragrance, and they print your name on it so you know it's yours, so your roommate can't use it because that bitch is always stealing your shampoo.
She takes your shit all the time.
And she's got to stop. Anyway, we love Function of Beauty in our house. If you've listened to the pod before and listened to this ad, you know that my daughter Birdie turned me on to Function of Beauty many moons ago. And it's become a real highlight in our house, especially when we were in that stay-at-home orders, and getting to the store to buy shampoo and conditioner seemed not possible. It wasn't possible. And it didn't have to be because Function of Beauty just showed up for us.
I got some eucalyptus on the way, and my body is ready.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Mine is
I can't
peach,
wait.
and the bottles are so cute that I had to renovate my bathroom.
You guys, I mean, I'm into all of it. We love it. What are you waiting for? Go to functionofbeauty.com/best to take your 4-part hair profile quiz and save 20% on your first order. Go to functionofbeauty.com/best for 20% off, and then let them know that you heard about it from Busy Phillips is Doing Our Best. That's functionofbeauty.com/best. Guys, get on it. We love it. Customized hair care with over 40,000 real 5-star reviews and counting. And I'm telling you something, somewhere in there is mine and my daughter's. So go look for that. So here's the deal. We talk about our therapists, and here Shantira and I have discussed it. Casey last week was like, and my therapist, Frasier reruns, which is funny, but also maybe not the best therapist, Frasier. Crane reruns? Yeah.
I'm gonna agree.
Okay. So, but here's the deal. We're so excited to tell you about Talkspace. It's online therapy. It lets you connect with a licensed therapist for a fraction of the price of in-person therapy. You match with your perfect therapist from the comfort of your device. You can reach out 24/7. You get access to the support you need with Talkspace. Message your therapist anytime. Get daily responses 5 days a week. A whole month of dedicated support costs as much as just one in-person session. This is a really difficult time for so many people, for, dare I say, all of us. And I'm going to say it. This is a really difficult time for all of us. And I know that everyone can use some extra support, somebody to talk to. And the truth is, having a professional can be incredibly helpful in order for you to honestly, live your best life. But also, if you're feeling, some depression, anxiety, if you're dealing with substance abuse, trauma, relationship issues, food, eating issues, and, even more, the Talkspace network is composed of thousands of licensed therapists that are experienced in treating those things. It's secure and private. It uses the latest encryption technology to keep your information safe. I cannot impress upon you how important it is to take care of your mental well-being. People talk about me time. They talk about,
self-care.
Self-care is a big thing. And it's self-care can be a bath with Epsom salts, sure. But giving yourself somebody, a dedicated licensed therapist to talk to about what you're feeling and what you're going through and how you're dealing with this incredibly unprecedented, difficult time in the world and also just in our own personal lives is invaluable. And that's the most self-care you can do. So Talkspace, the support you deserve, a price everyone can afford. Match with your perfect therapist at Talkspace.com or by downloading the Talkspace app. And do not forget, you can use the promo code BEST, B-E-S-T, at checkout for $100 off your first month. That's $100 off your first month at Talkspace.com, promo code BEST. Well, guys, I love her. Who's typing? I can hear someone typing. Is that you, Shantira?
Yeah.
You always do it. You always type. And I'm like, stop returning the emails. Click.
I have to tell somebody that I'm doing this right now, so they'll leave me alone. That's what
Imagine
happened.
if she was eating a salad.
You know what, Caissie? Rude. Also, are we pitching Sakara this week? I do love the salads. Okay.
You know how much I love Gillian Jacobs? I didn't even black out when she was talking about her bunion. That's how endearing I find Gillian Jacobs. She talked at length about having a bunion, and I didn't pitch a hissy fit.
I know, and I can't even talk about my dead toenail without you wanting to turn the ear.
That's why you have to have
off.
multiple group chats because I'm very invested. Anytime my toenail falls off, I am so intrigued. Please let me know how it's going.
I'm trying to find a new laser foot guy here in New York, or woman. Person. I used guy in a generic, no gender way. I'm trying to find a laser toe person here in New York. So if you've got a good one, hit me up. Slide into those DMs, please, or just email me at busydoingherbest@gmail.com with your recommendations for the laser toe fungus person that you like in New York City. All right. Let's get to a letter. Dear Busy, Shantira, and Caissie, have I got a question for you? Even though I don't know you and will likely never meet you, I don't know, don't be so sure about that.
Yeah, no,
you
we'd be around.
feel like my community. I loved watching you on E! Your show was my special treat for myself in rare moments when I found myself alone in my house without my husband or toddler. And now your podcast is one of my friends in these strange COVID end of world times. I find myself in something of an unwilling pivot right now. I'm a teacher, a high school English teacher, to be precise. I love a teacher, guys. That's me interjecting. Yeah. I've always prided myself on building a little world in my classroom, a community of people who could talk about difficult things together, laugh really hard together, and feel at home together. That's why English teachers are the best. I didn't always succeed in that, but I worked hard at it. Now in COVID times, I'm teaching a bizarre hybrid classroom with half of my students at home and looking at me through the screen and half of the kids in rooms wearing masks and sitting behind plastic barriers separated from me and from each other by 6 feet. The most important thing to me is that kids feel some kind of community in my room, but half of them aren't even in the room. They struggle to talk to each other through the slow Wi-Fi and the Chromebooks. I know that story well with my daughter and her school. And they can't see my whole face, and it's hard to hear each other. It's the worst. You ladies make me feel like I'm a part of your community even though I can't see you. So, what advice can you share for teachers like me and other people whose jobs have changed so that they're almost unrecognizable on keeping the heart of our jobs going? Thank you, Anne. Ugh.
And first of all, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you. You're working so hard. I'm gonna start because I'm gonna say that one thing I think that's a theme for all of us, but it's so easy to forget when you're talking about yourself is that this has never happened before. No one's ever done this. No one's ever attempted this. You might as well be doing a mission to Mars. You know what I mean? So every day on your feet, as you're moving, you're trying to ride a bike and put pants on at the same time. This is the first time anyone's doing this.
Right.
So just, huge applause to you for, it sounds like you really care about it and like you really want to be good at a thing that I'm not sure we even know what being good at it means yet.
Right.
Like you're inventing it. And so just, your kids are so lucky to have you as a teacher, and I think that's a pretty big deal. So maybe you're connecting with them more already than you even realize.
I mean, Caissie nailed it. One thing that I'll say is that my English teacher growing up, Miss Henley, was like so important to me. A lot of us would eat lunch in her room. And I don't know if this is like a weird suggestion, but like if there is like once a week where your Zoom for your lunch, you just leave it open. And if kids want to eat lunch with you, I think that's a fun way for you to kind of get the feel of an in-classroom experience without having to worry about it always being about work. That was always something that I would do. That was always something that really made me feel good, especially my senior year when I knew I wouldn't be eating lunch with her anymore. So like, I think that is a fun thing. Another thing, I know that teachers are always doing so much work. But like, if there is an opportunity for you to make a little video of maybe what's happening during the week, that way when things come kind of undone or when Wi-Fi is not working, because we don't provide Wi-Fi for everybody in every community,
So
that
dumb.
like the kids could just be like, I'm going to watch that video. And obviously every kid's not going to watch it. Every kid's not going to eat lunch with you. But I think it would make you feel better. And there's always one kid who literally will be like, oh, thank God I got Miss Ann's video, or I'm going to eat lunch with her today. And unlike when you're in actual high school, people won't even know that they're in there if they're worried about being like considered a nerd. You'll just be like, it's open. And they could be like, oh, I forgot it was open. And then like they could play it off really cool.
I love that. Shantira, I think
that.
that's like such a great idea. I used to go eat with my drama teacher a lot.
Yeah.
I love that.
My English teacher was also my drama teacher in high school, Ms. Melanie Gallo, and she's a super important figure in my life as well. So I love that, Shantira. What Ms. Melanie Gallo would do for me and for anyone else I know now, I thought it was just for me at the time, is she would, she'd be walking up and down the rows during class and just put a book on the corner of your desk. And the first time she did that, I said, oh, is this like, I have to do a report on this? And she was like, no, I just finished reading it. And I was thinking of you when I was reading it. And I thought, oh, Caissie would love this book. So I just brought it to pass along to you. And that was the first time I was like, felt like a person. You know what I mean? Like somebody with my own identity that a grown-up saw. And to be thought of, to think that like a grown-up was thinking of you when they were doing something for pleasure on their own time, and to like pass it along to you.
Oh my God, Caissie's crying. I can't take it when you cry.
I love Miss Melanie Gallo so much.
Yeah, I love Miss Henley a lot. She was very, she was great. I felt really seen and heard from that English teacher. And like, I also felt like smart because I could read a book and then have an opinion about it and she would respect it. But also like, it's very rare for you to like to eat lunch with a grown up and not feel like shit. So just being
I have to say also, Miss Ann, also like we have your email. I like the idea that Caissie just had, but I also know how difficult it is with budgets and things now for teachers, and that you have to provide so much for students. So like, let's reach out to Miss Ann and see if she has an Amazon wish list or something. Maybe
Yeah.
I was going to do some version of a combo of that, which was like, I always loved reading books that were not required for school, and like book club. I always wanted to be in a book club, but like those don't really exist for high school students. And one time I tried to join the one at Brentano's, and it was just like a bunch of middle-aged women and me like reading The Girl with the Pearl Earring. Oh my God. You know? And like, so I just feel like that's a cool thing too. Like you could, to cultivate like a sense of community, like everybody loves clubs. Like everybody wants to belong to a club, you know? So it could be like lunchtime book club. We talk about books, or the show that you recently binge watched, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
like you guys could like, it could be up to the kids, like what kind of thing that you discuss. Because also like if you're talking about like TV shows, even like breaking down story structure and television shows and movies and like thematics of shows and things, like that's all English, right? You know what I mean? So like it's still, there's a way to engage on that level. Maybe it's like the lunchtime, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to do it all. Let's do it all for you. Well, Miss Melanie Gallo, we love you. Mrs. Corsino is my favorite teacher from 4th grade.
Miss Hindley, 10th grade, senior year. I love you.
And also Mrs. Howard. I ate lunch in Mrs. Howard's drama room in middle school after I dislocated my knee and I was a pariah. And all right, guys, we love you. You're all doing your best. We're going to be back next Wednesday. Please email us busydoingherbest@gmail.com for advice or thoughts or feelings. Follow us on Instagram at BP is doing her best. Make sure you tell your friends to subscribe and download the pod. We love you so
and tell your friends
much.
you love them.
And tell your friends you love them. It's important to tell people you love them. It really is.
And if you're not in an emotional place to do that, give them a book.
Say, I was just thinking about you, boo. Yeah. Here's a book. Guys, that's it. We love you so much.
Bye. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best.
Oh, no.